Hi, everybody. This is Craig with Out on Film, and I want to welcome you to our In Conversations series with all of our filmmakers from this year's festival. Today, I'm very excited to be talking to the team behind Transcendence, which is a documentary that we are going to be screening it out on film on Sunday, October the 6th at 1 p.m. at Outfront Theater. So I hope all of you watching this will turn out to watch this really beautiful documentary that you have presented to us and to the community. And so I'm really excited to be talking to both of you. We have Didi Paulini, who is the director, writer, also I think a producer.
Yes.
Yes. And Emily Wilson, who is serving as a producer on this project. So I want to welcome you both to Out on Film.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jim.
So, Didi, I want to start with you because the story of how you came to this documentary started with you and an interaction that you had with one of the subjects, Andy Woodward. So,
Yeah.
tell us about that experience and how it is that you came to tell the story of these seven people.
Right. So I am from Brazil, and that's where you guys get the accent from. So I came here in 2022 with at the time my girlfriend. And in order for me to apply for the work visa and all of that, I mean, we had thought so we had to rush and, get married. Um, just for the purpose of the visa first, not that it's not something that we want to do it again. Um, right? But so we were like, okay, what are we gonna do? We're gonna do the courthouse. We're gonna do it was just something like so sudden because my lawyer said you need the certificate before I apply. So I'm like, okay, it has to be next week. So all right, we're getting married next week, I guess. And I had a couple of friends here, like I had a few friends, and my wife wanted to get the wedding bands blessed, kind of like before we'd exchange. So a friend of mine that we were living with at the time had a pastor, like from the neighborhood church, that would do it for us. Which I had no idea, who would have been or about anything about that person. And I was like, okay, perfect. I can go in we were gonna get married on a Thursday, so I was like, wait, I can go in on a Wednesday or so, like before. And it turns out that the place I chose to kind of like do a little celebration with my friends, which was just like a bar slash restaurant, Andy was gonna be there at the same place giving a speech in a different room. And she was like, would they like me to officiate for them? Just do a little something. And so my friend got back at me and I was like, sure, why not? Right. So it turns out I had to write my vows in 2 days because I thought it was going to be like just a courthouse kind of thing. And we ended up having this whole like officiation about, like I had people in Brazil watching through a Zoom call. I had people like here. Um, and then that's how I met Andy. And I was just I mean, I think fascinated is the right and the wrong word per se. I mean, I'm not, um, but yes, I was a little like stunned and fascinated that there's a trans pastor. This is so cool. And then I walked by and I passed by the neighborhood church and there were like LGBT flags, like it was so welcoming to the community that I'm like, this is cool. Like you don't see that growing up in Brazil, a mostly Catholic country, right? Um, so I was just amazed that she could be herself. She could be her true self, right? And so she inspired me to kind of like just show people that um how trans people are, because they just want to be true to themselves, and I wanted to fully give them the space to do it. Um, so that's the funny story behind Andy or officiating,
Yeah.
my wedding. But yeah, that's what inspired me. And then I talked to Jennifer, the co-director, and I talked to Emily. I was like, hey guys, I want to do this and that. what do you think? So Emily came along with like she knew, she's from Atlanta, so she knew more people that would be invested and would want to do it. So yeah, we kind of like started off as an idea, and then we got together and it became a project.
Yeah, it's ironic because that you say this church in this neighborhood with a trans pastor that it wouldn't happen in Brazil. It doesn't really happen here either.
Oh, I know, right?
um, because it's because I pass that church every single day with the flags out front, and I'm always like, yeah. And until I saw the movie, I didn't realize that Andy was the pastor there. I just always felt nice because the flags are flying out front every morning when I pass them.
Yes, right. It was just so welcoming and so nice to be there. Like, aside from religion or anything, it's just a place that you can go in and really be yourself and talk to Andy and how she's working on that. Like she had to tell her community, she had to tell, like the bishop, and then how she talks about all of that. And you were like, how are they gonna take, kind of like and but it was already like such a like a nice environment that was open for her to do it. So that's one of the things that she talks about, it like be in an environment that people are already nice to you, they will accept you.
Yeah. Emily, tell us how you really came aboard on this project and what drew you to this project to begin with.
Yeah, so goodness, I was pulled onto this project what, like 2 weeks before we even started shooting. I was living in Madrid, um, working teaching film, and I had just moved back to the United States, and I met Adriana through this other guy that we both, I guess, happen to know, who we make films with. And she was saying that she was working on this project and was looking for trans people to interview, and I was like, oh well, I know some people who might want to talk to you. And I was trying to rebuild my career in the film scene, and so then I got on a call with Adriana and Jennifer and met them for the first time. um and within 2 weeks we were filming, but it was a really wonderful opportunity for me to, these friends that I had. One of them, in fact, transitioned while I was abroad. And she's been a really good friend of mine for 5 years now. And so it was a really cool way to reconnect with her and my other friends after, being away for so long. So this was a really awesome experience for me in that regard.
Well, both of you, tell us a little bit about the process of finding everybody and getting them to agree to do this. What was that process like, and how did you really find everybody that you decided in the end to interview for this film?
Yeah, we started with the Andy, of course, and then we moved on. Norman, I met at Urban Pie. It's like, the little thing, the places, it kind of like it comes to you. I'm like, oh, it seems such a great person, maybe. And then so that's how I met Norman. And let's see, we had two other people that were going to participate. But it's always tricky, with interviews and all of that, and especially such a like a sensitive subject. Um, they may not be out yet to like some of their family members or things, and so we did lose two people that were going to participate. We even had set the dates. They just stopped replying. But then Emily came along as well, and she had like a Timothy and Jay, right? Timothy and Jay were
Jay
her
and
friends,
Alice, yeah.
and Alice. So um I didn't even know like Emily was gonna have so many amazing friends that would be willing to participate. So bring talk about bringing a good producer, huh?
Yeah.
No, just kidding. Oh, we worked on another project as well, Emily and I, and hopefully we'll be out on film next year. But
Yeah.
anyway, so it was just, and then let's see. So we got Norman, Andy, Timothy, Jay, Alice. Um, Wait, who am I missing?
Ava, Dante.
Dante.
Yeah.
Dante. How did we meet Dante? I met because Dante invited me after to do. Ooh, okay. Let me go back to that. But and then we added Ava because I met Ava through a filmmaking event, and I'm like, all right, I already have my 6 subjects, but I mean, Ava was such an amazing person that I'm like, would you like to participate? Because I mean, I'm calling my editor right now, and I'm gonna rent all the equipment again just to help you if you want to. Um, and that's and then we formed our little group, our 7 and interviewees. Like, I didn't want it to make such a long feature because I wanted to be about them. I wanted to have them portrayed pretty much at all times, because I want people to see it. That is, that I might not be the best person to say that, but just to see that it's to see them, to not, we didn't want to fill with like b-roll or even like photos from before,
Right.
which it doesn't matter to us, and it doesn't matter to them because it's about them when they chose to be themselves, so that's why I didn't want to like have a lot of people, and then I understand how documentaries can be extensive and long, so it's just a small part of their lives. So
And so much for both of you, so much of uh, having people kind of talk about themselves and their lives and their stories. I know Emily, you knew some of them, but there's still an element of trust that you have to establish that you're going to take care of them in what can be, pretty vulnerable situations, or at least, conversations that you're talking about. How did you both kind of go about really establishing that level of trust with each one of them? And Emily, I'll start with you.
Yeah, well, it's making me think of, Alice, because she was one who was really hesitant at first. When I first asked her, she, wasn't sure, and she originally said no. And, we left it at that. Like, we're not going to try to pressure people to tell their stories and all this stuff. Um, and so, we, didn't ask her again about it or anything like that. And then, she ended up reaching out to me again. Actually, I think it was right. We were about to start our last day of shooting. Like, she was really right at the end of the last minute. And she reaches out to me and she says, I keep thinking about this film and, I actually think I might want to do it, but, I'm just a regular person. Like, what's interesting about me? Um, and, I just told her, I was like, you know, everyone deserves their story to be told. And I keep thinking about this quote that's like, you are worthy of documentation. You're worthy of existing just by existing. You're worthy of being documented just by documenting yourself. I don't know if you've heard that quote. And just having that representation out there is
Yeah.
so important, and it's going to be meaningful to someone. And it was really meaningful to me too, to see her, because, there were things that I learned about her through this interview process that I didn't even know before as well. And so I'm really glad that she came back and spoke to us. But I think that's really what it was, is we just, had to put feelers out there and see who was comfortable, and really just make sure that when people were coming to us, they were ready to tell their stories.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Well,
we also like oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that we also like we were not looking for in a specific let's say some of them had not gone through surgery, some of them have, in the which was fine to us. Some of them we may have talked a little bit about it or didn't, because we wanted to make them feel comfortable about what they wanted to share. So that was always our first statement, before even starting. I was like, if we had a conversation before, all of them, we kind of like did this online video call before. And then, so I already had like, kind of like questions and things that we would ask, but it always started with, maybe you told me something that now you don't want to share, and it's fine. Okay. We don't need to, if I ask anything, you don't want to talk about it, we'll skip to the next one. And if you want to end this, that's totally fine. Because again, it's a sensitive subject. Even though if it wasn't like about being, like queer or trans or anything like that, you were telling your own story, and sometimes you're just not ready to even hear yourself saying it, So that's why.
I think that one of the things that struck me when I was watching was really how every single one of them, and I think too, I think the way that maybe you interviewed them or edited the film, it really becomes about everything in this queer journey, no matter where any of us are on this queer journey, we are so connected in so many different ways. And what each of them was able to really talk about are the ways in which we are all connected, and it doesn't feel like we have very many differences at all. We're all on this journey and we're
Yeah.
all at various points in our journeys, no matter where on the queer spectrum letters that we fall into or combine. It was just really a beautiful thing to experience all of the ways that we are so interconnected. Talk a little bit about kind of how that kind of came about for each of you.
Well, you can go first, Emily.
In context of the film or like my life
Or how you brought your life to it.
yeah. Um, yeah, I was so so excited when I saw the first cut of this film come back from the editor, because it's like I saw all of these interviews in raw, just sometimes we talked to people for what, like 2 hours, I think was the longest one. And I thought it was so amazing, like you're saying, how it did come back to that. It was all about that connection, and it really pulled. I mean, this was, Adriana's vision and Jennifer's vision from the beginning was to get a product that, could inspire empathy across everyone in the queer community and allies and everyone in the world, because we all go on this journey of self-acceptance and understanding regardless. Um, and so, yeah, I think that it really just proves the fact that, we really aren't that different. The fact that everyone separately in all of their interviews just kept coming back to this
Yeah.
point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just like, of course you have like, again, we have the notes, we have the questions, we have the visions, but you never know what they're gonna say again or repeat
Right.
themselves. So you can make the best script for like a documentary. You can, it's not like a narrative that what's gonna happen, even though sometimes it's a little different than what he envisioned. But with documentaries, you may have like a line, and it's like, oh, this person talks a little bit like the church, like Andy, of course she would come up with the subject, but
Right.
this person maybe talks about her love life, like her, like we had Alice with her girlfriend, or like, but sometimes we just think that that's gonna come up for sure, and it doesn't. And then you're like, how do I force that? And then you try, and it still doesn't. So I'm like, okay, I gotta make a
Right.
plan B. Now it's like a complete different narrative. How do I connect the dots? And but they kind of like connected itself, because again, they may have been in different like parts of their journey, but they are always following this journey of acceptance. So that's the beauty of it. We could kind of like connect through that, you know.
So have any of them seen it?
I mean, just Ava
I don't
may
think so.
have, but I'm
Okay.
not sure. I'm not 100% positive that she had, but no, none of them. They are all gonna see it now, or
Okay.
even like if they cannot be in there for the premiere, they will see it online
Okay. So it's going to be a world premiere for them too.
for them too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So as you think about it, when as we're about to do the world premiere of it coming up through the festival, what is it that each of you hopes that one, each of the people you interviewed who participated in the film that whose stories that we're going to experience, what do you hope that they walk away with from this experience, and what do you hope the audience walks away with?
I hope they like it. It's hard to say. That would be awkward if they
Yeah.
don't. Um, right? I feel like maybe I mean for the audience, again, it would be just inspiration. Even to bring the subject for to like a group of friends, or to bring the subject and kind of like bring acceptance to the table, and respect. You know, it's people are just living their lives and they just want to be respected. That's what we want, the whole like, you know, for the audience. And for and also for the audience that had not made up their minds yet and maybe need a little kick or need a little inspiration. If so, that hopefully it would help them. And for the interviewees, I would think that, again, I guess we go back a little bit to the Alice story, you know. I feel like I hopefully they will also get inspired by seeing them out there and how much they have accomplished. You know, I feel like sometimes we take for granted how much we do and how much we say, and they they will make a difference, you know. And I hopefully they will see that they may change one life, but I'm sure they will, you know. So,
And that
and
one life is worth it.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I really hope that seeing themselves on screen, and I mean I really like how this film came together, and I think that they're going to be really proud of themselves. And I know that there has been, even though everyone, was really brave and telling their stories, there's still some anxiety about,
Sure.
wow, this film is going to be put in front of an audience now. And I hope that when they see just, how beautiful their stories all came together, that they can be really proud of that. And I even remember at the what was that event called for the Center of Human and Civil Rights? There was like an event that they had recently with their LGBT Institute. And I got to pitch the film.
Good.
And this person came up afterwards, who was there representing another trans organization. And they came up to me and they were like, "Can I just give you a hug?" And they proceeded to give me those like heartwarming, like strong hug I've ever experienced. And they're like, "Thank you so much for telling these stories." And I guess that's what I thought of when you asked that question, is I hope that people in the audience see this and they just are, so inspired and warm, like heartwarmed by it.
I think that's a great place for us as we come to a close. For all of them, and I hope that all of you watching this out there, I know Emily, you said there is a bravery that is necessary to put wherever we are, to put your life on screen and be as public as each of them has been. But I do want to say too, I want to thank all of them and thank you both, because they were all very gracious to all of us with their stories and their insights. And we very much appreciate you all bringing them and their stories to Out on Film and to the screen, and we can't wait to have your world premiere and have everybody experience what we've all experienced here. So I want to thank you both for joining us here at Out on Film. For everybody out there, this is Transcendence, and it is screening Sunday, October 6th at 1 p.m. at Outfront Theater. I hope all of you come out and celebrate your queer joy with us at the movies. Emily, Didi, thank you both very much for joining us today.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Jim.
you.
Thank you.